Hi everyone, Charlie Sink here. I had a little project that needed some tread plate bent. Since I do sheet bending about every other decade, I decided to throw together a bender just for getting my project done. I also get a kick out of making my own tools, so this was a fun project. It ended up working so well, took so little time, and cost so little, I thought it would be worth sharing. Welcome to another edition of The Weevil Genius. So here's the design. The wood parts provide the strength and stiffness. The metal parts prevent the wood getting crushed when the sheet metal is being bent. It's your basic sheet metal bender, only in this case made out of wood and metal to keep things easy and quick to build. Here are the tools, materials, and hardware needed. A skill saw. I have a table saw, but it ended up getting used as a table, so the skill saw got used for all the wood cutting. A drill motor, and the usual hand tools. For materials, I used an 8-foot 4x6, an 8-foot 2x4, some 1.5 inch by 2 inch steel angle I found under our bed. I don't think my wife will notice it's missing. 2 feet of 2 inch by 8 inch steel bar and some 1/2 inch threaded rod. Hardware included a couple framing brackets, a couple door hinges, some 1/2 inch nuts and washers, and assorted torque drive screws. So let's get started. I cut up the 4x6 into two 33 inch pieces and one 30 inch piece. I then got to work on the bending blade and block. This is the 30-inch piece of the 4x6 and the 2-inch by 8 inch thick by 24.5 long steel bar. When sheet is being bent, there's a large force pushing the bar backwards. Screws alone would shear off or tear through the wood. To transfer the load from the bar, or bending blade, to the block, I cut a pocket so the back edge of the bending blade pushes up against the block. This worked great. The block was then cut so there would be room to overbend the sheet metal to allow for spring back. Holes were drilled in the bending blade and then countersunk. And then it was screwed to the block. The folding bar uses one of the 33-inch long pieces of the 4x6 and gets the bed frame steel angle screwed to it. The bed frame material was cut down to 24.5 inches. The other 33-inch piece from the 4x6 becomes the bender base and gets hinges attached. The torque drive screws work just fine without pre-drilling, but I had the problem that the wood grain would force them into new positions as they were going in, which then forced the hinges into new positions, which then caused me to utter some things I learned from the plumber. After the hinges, it was time for the clamping rods. I used a 5/8 diameter bit so the rods would drop into the holes and have some slop for adjusting the bending blade when it was time to bend sheet. Handle fabrication was next. Two 20-inch pieces from the 2x4. These are screwed into the bending block with a couple of screws, then have framing brackets attached to the rear. The framing brackets are loaded in tension as the handle gets pulled up when bending sheet. This worked out fine. After everything was together, I noticed a problem with the hinges. As sheet was being bent, the force required started pulling the hinge screws out of the wood and also started bending the hinge material itself, To fix the problem, I drilled a new set of holes in the hinges as close to the pin as possible and used 3-inch torque drive screws. The last tweak was to add a rear shim along the length of the bending block. This is needed so the clamping pressure is transferred down through it and the very tip of the bending blade to the sheet metal. So let's bend some sheet. This is a 5-inch by 5-inch by 1/16 inch piece of aluminum tread plate. A 16-inch wide piece, and a 24-inch wide piece. So what did I need the tread plate bent for in the first place? Riding car foot plates for my backyard railroad, of course. Thanks for watching. I hope you found the video useful, and if you liked it, please subscribe. It really helps me grow the channel. See you next time.